Chapter 1584. Both the person and the game. This was the question that Luo had been thinking about for a long time. Was her choice of career wrong? She didn't regret it, but she had many regrets. It was different from what she imagined. There were too many things that she couldn't explain clearly. All along, she spent more time on training than her personal life. The arrival of the celebrity era meant that she had to communicate with people. It was quite funny when she thought about it. If she asked the captain to communicate with the fans, what would he say? For example, "Almighty Xiao, I like you." Captain. Luo relaxed when she thought about this. She wasn't the only one who wasn't used to it. That person wasn't used to it too. But he was always so strong. If it was possible, he would always be there. Luo didn't regret liking that person. She really didn't regret it. But she didn't want to continue. But similarly, she couldn't accept anyone. Hence, she rejected the man decisively. The man was tough too. It was probably because he was a soldier. He had a good personality. "I know. Do you want to eat an ice cream?" Luo realized that people who were good at communicating with others had a special characteristic. They could naturally change topics that would make people feel awkward. The man smiled faintly. "Because you don't like me. That's why you are treating me." In front of them was the small shop in the town. Luo agreed and took out 2 ice creams. The two of them walked with the ice cream in their mouths. They were having a relaxed time. Humans really needed friends. Just as Luo was thinking about this, her phone rang. It was her mother. She used the most familiar method. "How is it? Are you satisfied? You didn't come back immediately. There must be something going on. Your auntie and I didn't lie to you, right? This is Lang." Luo's volume wasn't low. She knew that the person beside her must have heard it. She held her forehead helplessly. Fine. I won't ask. All right, I'm not calling to gossip like before. Someone from home is looking for you. He said that he is from the same team as you." As Mother Luo spoke, she glanced at the tall and slender figure standing in the courtyard. "He looks familiar too. He seems to be the person in your photo." "It's Brother Fatty." "Brother Fatty is here? So fast." Luo was obviously happy. "Brother Fatty?" Mother Luo looked at the person in front of her suspiciously. He wasn't fat at all. "I'm here. I'm going in now." Luo hung up the phone. The man next to him said, "Look at the puddles in front of you." His reminder was still too late. The man reached out and pulled Luo. He was helpless. "Student, watch the road." Luo wanted to laugh at his tone. "Sorry." "Really?" The man was also smiling. But looking at the sky, it should be raining again. Luo looked down. The sky was dark. "You are looking at the sky, I am looking at you." This sentence is very suitable for men. Student Lung probably didn't even notice that there were too many emotions in her eyes. After all, she was the only girl he had ever liked. Luo didn't see such a gaze. Xiao Jing, who was standing in the yard, saw it. Mother Luo smiled beside him. Seems like Luo is quite satisfied this time. Xiao Jing didn't speak. His eyes darkened, and in the end, he couldn't help walking over. Luo was standing with her back facing the house. She didn't see the person behind her. There were many puddles on the ground because it had been raining recently. It was true that Xiao Jing took the high-speed train here. But if he wanted to get here, other than the high-speed train, he had to reverse. In the end, he took a taxi. When he entered the town, many people were looking at him. Chapter 1585. The sky darkened again. It looked like it was about to rain. Luo felt something falling on her face. It happened suddenly. A transparent umbrella appeared above her head. Classmate Lang, who was standing opposite her, instantly turned his gaze towards the person. Luo felt that something was amiss. She glanced sideways. However, in the next second, his body froze, and even his eyes were a little shaky. She couldn't believe it. Wasn't Brother Fatty the one who came? Why was it him? But in this misty rain, that person stood with an umbrella in his uniform. His handsome face didn't change at all. He was holding the umbrella for her. Her shoulders were drenched by the rain. Luo didn't expect this person to appear. Her mind went blank. She heard him saying beside her ear, "Why are you wearing so little when you're meeting your friend?" Luo habitually treated it as if she was still at the base. "It was sunny when I left. MH." Xiao Jing tugged the jacket off his uniform with one hand and placed it on her body. "Do you still want to continue talking to your friend?" Classmate Lung truly felt that this person. "Hello." Xiao Jing extended his hand. "I'm Luo's boyfriend. Thank you for sending her back." "Boyfriend?" Classmate Lung smiled. "I don't think so. I heard from Auntie that Luo is still single." In the past, Xiao Jing didn't talk much to people. But now it was different. "Auntie doesn't know yet. I'm here for you to check if I'm qualified." "Nonsense." Luo wanted to retort. But he grabbed her hand. His gaze was deep. "Are you going back?" Luo felt that she couldn't resist his gaze. Every time she trained till late, he would appear and look at her like this. "Go back." MH. Luo glanced at classmate Lung apologetically. Classmate Lung took a step forward. "If Auntie isn't satisfied with him, you can contact me any time. Also, you can't miss the class reunion." "I understand." Luo added. "I'm talking about the class reunion. I'll be there." Actually, it was good that her captain appeared. It saved her the trouble of explaining that she wasn't in a suitable state to be in a relationship. However, Luo really couldn't understand why he would appear here. Also, the words he said made her heart tighten. On the other hand, Mother Luo was standing in the courtyard. When she saw this scene from afar, she felt a little conflicted. As a mother, she knew better than anyone that the man was the one who had moved her daughter's heart. Before this, Mother Luo was still wondering how such a boy could exist in this world. His aura was too good. One look and she could tell that he came from a scholarly family. He was completely different from the people here. Any girl who marries him will definitely be blessed. After all, the child was well educated. But she didn't think that way anymore. This person and her Luo were from two different worlds. The mother must be worried. As soon as she saw the boy, she could imagine his family background. Ordinary people would not be able to raise such a child. Under normal circumstances, how could such a child know how to care for others? If he really had the heart, her Luo couldn't have come back alone. His attitude was still the same. It was as if he had lost a battle and didn't want to pick it up again. As a mother, her heart ached when she saw this. In short, it wasn't suitable. Chapter 1586. From Mother Luo's attitude. Xiao Jing could tell that she didn't welcome him. At the very least, she wasn't as warm as when he first entered the courtyard. But she was still polite. She even asked him what he wanted to eat. But she didn't give him any time to be alone with Luo. Xiao Jing was the captain of Xiongnan. Although he was a man of few words, as someone from an aristocratic family, he was able to see the ways of the world. Hence, when Mother Luo was cooking, he helped. He didn't wear an apron and just sat there to help Mother Luo choose the wild vegetables. Mother Luo felt that this person was too fake. How could such a person choose wild vegetables? But when she saw him lower his head, he didn't even care that his white shirt was dirty. Instead, he moved his slender fingers and took out the tender vegetable heart and placed it in the wooden basket. Mother Luo didn't want to make it too obvious that she didn't welcome him. After Luo poured the tea, she saw this scene when she came out. When she was pouring the tea, she was organizing her thoughts. This person's appearance was a surprise to her. Based on the time, he should be preparing for the newbies in the team and had a lot of interviews to do. Why did he appear in her hometown and help her mother choose wild vegetables? This scene really didn't seem real. When this person wasn't training at the base, he would definitely be in the research institute or a high-end cafe. Occasionally, he would wear a pair of gold-rimmed glasses or a white coat. He would hold a book that she didn't understand and talk to people. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that he came from a scholarly family. This was probably the only time she saw such a scene. The more Mother Luo looked at him, the more she felt that he was too skilled. "Mr. Xiao, do you also choose vegetables at home?" "Auntie, you can just call me Xiao Jing. My mother likes to eat wild vegetables too. It's just that it's hard to find wild vegetables that grow in the north in the coastal city. But my hometown is in the north too. My grandparents like wild vegetables too. When I was young, I chose wild vegetables with them. After I started studying medicine, I got to know more wild vegetables. Occasionally, I would use them to make medicine. Xiao Jing changed his experiment to medicine making so that Mother Luo wouldn't feel distant. Mother Luo's eyes lit up when she heard this. I told you that wild vegetables have medicinal value. Even the experts said it, but Luo Luo didn't believe it. Luo Luo, who was called out. Her mother's attitude changed a little too quickly. Luo Luo is worried about you too. However, if Auntie is looking at the comments of the experts on her WeChat moments, it's best to choose from them. For example, the wild herb we're choosing now has the effect of lowering blood sugar and lipids. It can also clear away internal heat and reduce internal heat, but at the same time, it's cold. It's best not to eat it if you don't have a good appetite, because if you eat too much, it'll easily cause indigestion and... Mother Luo finally found someone who understood her. One moment, she was enlightened. The next moment, she was praised for knowing so much. The next moment, she learned a lot about wild vegetables. She wanted to tell her sisters about what she had heard today. It was too practical. On the other hand, Luo Luo felt like she was dreaming as she watched from the side. Captain. He had never spoken so much before. In her memory, he was a man of few words. He would occasionally touch her head, but he rarely did anything else. When it came to topics, it was usually other people who talked about it. Just as he was thinking. Chapter 1587. Just as she was about to pass him the cup, he suddenly leaned over. However, she saw him suddenly lean over, and just like that in her position, his thin lips touched the glass of water, staining it with water. Luo Luo wasn't in her teens or early 20s anymore. She would turn around and leave at any moment. Even this action made her heart skip a beat. But she didn't show anything on her face. She waited for him to finish drinking before keeping the cup. Then, she sat beside him and cut the vegetables together. If she treated him as a friend, she would be much calmer. After so many years, she actually managed to fake it. Now it seemed easier. She had probably thought things through. But Luo Luo was really happy that this person came. It was as if Grandpa Fatty came. Luo Luo thought that she was finally similar to him. She treated him as a captain who fought alongside her. He was just a captain, nothing else. Xiao Jing also noticed that there was a subtle difference between them. But he couldn't tell what the difference was. Because the person in front of him wasn't distant from him. Even when they were eating, he kept putting food in his bowl. Captain, try this. It's my mom's specialty. It's delicious. Okay. Xiao Jing really didn't talk much now. It was probably because he had talked too much with Mother Luo that his throat felt uncomfortable. He thought about it and realized that it was probably because he was drenched in the rain. Luo Luo scooped a bowl of soup for him and smiled at him from time to time. Her eyes were very beautiful. Xiao Jing paused his chopsticks. His gaze deepened. Mother Luo was sometimes a reasonable person. She didn't arrange for him to stay in the small motels in town. After all, he looked clean. Even though she was angry, this young man made her daughter different. From a certain perspective, this was growth. Her daughter was outstanding. But it didn't mean that everyone liked her. It was normal that no one liked her. As a mother, she only hoped that her daughter would marry someone who liked her and that she would like him too. She wouldn't have any regrets and would be happy. After eating, Luo Luo replied to a message. The message was from classmate Lang. He said that they were going to a gathering. Luo Luo agreed. After so many years, she really wanted to see her childhood classmates. Xiao Jing poured tea for Mrs. Luo and glanced at her. When he saw the smile on her lips, he felt as if something was pressing against his chest. He knew very well who she was replying to. The person who had pulled her wrist today. Xiao Jing had never felt like this before. But he also understood one thing. He wanted to bring Luo Luo back. A blind date or something. Not for her. Marrying a classmate was even more unsuitable for her. With Mama Luo's age, she didn't say much when she saw this scene. She just lowered her head and drank her tea. It was usually in a small town. By 9 o'clock in the evening, there was no one outside. Occasionally, the chirping of insects could be heard. After all, the college entrance examination was here, and summer was coming. Luo cut a plate of watermelon and placed it in front of Xiao Jing. The network signal here isn't good sometimes. If you're bored, Captain, you can watch television for a while. Okay. Xiao Jing looked at her face. Luoluo's fingers paused. She turned around and opened the wardrobe. She took out a blanket. This is new. No one used it before. When she said this, she looked at his shoulder again. His clothes weren't dry yet. She hurriedly found her white t-shirt. You can wear this first. I bought a super large one. It should be able to be worn by the fans. Chapter 1588. The entire bedroom was silent for a second. Luoluo was the first to speak. See if you can wear it. If it's small, I'll find another one. At that time, she had indeed done many things. She didn't dare to wear the uniform even after she bought it. After all, she was part of the Xiongnan team. It wouldn't be good if she appeared as his fan. At that time, she didn't even have the ability to prove herself. Hence, she didn't want to cause trouble for him. She started to talk about it seriously. At the start, she didn't seem to like him as a romantic partner. It was pure admiration. He was only 1 year older than her, but he was so amazing. She was a silent fan. With this attitude, Luoluo became a fan for a long time. In the end, before she entered Xiongnan, when she almost wanted to give up and stop playing games, he only said one sentence to those who said that she was not good. Wait until I see how she plays, then we'll talk. He gave her a chance to stay in Xiongnan. From that moment onwards, her silent fan turned into a silent liking. This liking lasted for 3 years. She couldn't talk about it. She didn't dare to talk about it. She didn't even dare to show it. Because at that time, no one would accept a relationship within the team. Now, it was indeed an old version of the uniform. It seemed to have betrayed her. Xiao Jing realized that Luoluo didn't want to talk about the past. He took the uniform and unbuttoned his shirt with one hand. Then, he bent down and wanted to wear the uniform. When Luoluo turned back, this was the scene she saw. Even though everyone stayed in the same apartment when they were in the base, their rooms were separated. In the earliest meeting, the captain requested everyone to wear their shirts even when they were in the base because she was around. Hence, Luoluo had never seen such a scene. She would definitely feel the impact. She only looked back for a moment before turning her head away again. Of course, Xiao Jing saw this, and the corners of his mouth turned up as he laughed out loud. Luoluo heard his laughter and turned back with her beautiful eyes. The person who was looking at her didn't care. Why should she care? But when he looked at her again, it was too deep. She reminded herself that she couldn't fall into his eyes. I can wear it. Xiao Jing lowered his gaze. Luoluo placed the pillow down for him. I saw it. If you don't have enough blankets, send me a message. Luoluo. Seeing that she was about to leave, Xiao Jing reached out to hold her wrist. It's probably too late, but I still want to tell you that I don't want you to go, so think about it. Do you want to go back with me? Luoluo's gaze landed on his face. Then she shook her head. It was very light. After playing esports for so many years, I'm a little tired. I also want to accompany my mother. Xiao Jing's Adam's apple bobbed. He knew he was a little late. However, such an answer was indeed not within his expectations. He thought that as long as he thought clearly. She returned to him. But now that he saw the support uniform, Xiao Jing understood something. She had waited too long for him. Not only had she been waiting for him, but she had also been waiting for him to understand her feelings for so many years. She had been waiting for the sound of her feelings for so long. During this period of time, she was afraid, worried, and in the face of those who disagreed with her, she still did not give up. Until now, she was tired. This type of support uniform. It should have been 4 years. It would be fine if it was 4 peaceful years. Chapter 1589. Okay, Xiao Jing replied. Luoluo didn't say anything else. What he had in mind was also verified. He came here because he wanted her to go back. That night, Luoluo slept well. It was probably because she had let go of her feelings. The more people knew about her feelings, the easier it was for her to let go. But when she woke up the next day, Luoluo didn't understand why that person didn't seem to have any intention of leaving. Instead, He followed her mother to the oldest market in the town and bought 3 sets of clothes. He looked as though he was planning to stay here for a long time. Fortunately, it was Xiao Jing. If someone else wore that color and style, it would be a terrible sight. But there was a type of person who could suppress the darker the color. That was because of his aura. Many people were asking when they saw him. "Luo Luo, is this your friend? Is he your boyfriend? He looks good." Luo Luo hurriedly said, "No, he is a very good friend, not a boyfriend." When Xiao Jing came over, he heard these words and felt a sharp pain in his heart. He had the chance to be her boyfriend forever. What was he trying to verify? Yesterday, Xiao Jing had been thinking about this question over and over again. Because when he saw her, his first reaction was that she wasn't bad. She had beautiful techniques, both her operation and her awareness. But when he saw her lowering her lids, she seemed to be tired. He thought that she wasn't just a sorcerer. She was a girl. Hence, from the start, he was used to taking care of her. Until now, he was still like this. But who said that taking care of someone couldn't mean that he liked them? Even he was stuck in this line of thought and couldn't come out. But yesterday, he knew that she was giving up on him like a scholar. Just thinking about this made his heart feel empty uncontrollably. Yesterday, he even sent Qin Mo a message. "Luo Luo probably doesn't know about this. In her eyes, you seem to be perfect. Luo Luo should know that you aren't that perfect. Not bad, after all, she has waited for you for so many years. Finally, she can't wait anymore. It's good to consider others." Luo Luo was as inhumane as usual. "You don't have to ask my girlfriend about dating. You can just give up. Anyway, other than esports and scientific research, you are very popular in everything you do." Xiao Jing didn't bother about his words. After all, this person had a sharp tongue. He just asked, "How did you know? She waited for me for so many years?" It's a coincidence. When Qin Mo said this word, he didn't forget the person beside him. "Lord Jiu, you still have 8 days before your college entrance examination. Are you going to continue playing with the cat and not marry me in the future, or are you going to write a physics paper?" Just when Xiao Jing thought he had forgotten about his matter. Chapter 1590. Luo Luo probably cared too much about this, so she didn't even think about it. That's why she asked me such a question. Qin Mo added another stab. "What were you doing then?" Xiao Jing. He was just researching. But now that he thought about it, that scene, he had no impression of it at all. Just as Qin Mo said, he couldn't see it. Looking at Luo Luo's dressing, she probably went to confess. Qin Mo was nonchalant. "It has been so many years. If you really can't do it, Luo Luo wouldn't lack suitors." I said the last sentence on her behalf. It was hard to tell who had said those words. Qin Mo laughed. He didn't seem to be talking to Xiao Jing. Instead, he was talking to the person beside him. Xiao Jing retired for Luo Luo's sake. This is enough to prove that he is capable. This person is addicted to esports. He didn't even want his family business. Think about it. Many people didn't like to link money with love. Of course, they didn't understand. People like Qin Mo and Xiao Jing, who gave up all the support from their family for their dreams, must love this industry so much. But they were willing to give up their dreams for one person. They probably loved her so much that they blocked their own dreams. Moreover, Qin Mo knew what Xiao Jing was thinking. Before he left, he said that admiration and love weren't the same thing. If you admired someone too much, you wouldn't be able to see their flaws. What if they couldn't live together for a long time? Luo Luo admired Xiao Jing too much. It was noon in the small town. The sounds of cooking could be heard everywhere. There were fewer vegetables in the house, so Mother Luo sent Luo Luo to buy them. She left Xiao Jing alone and ignored the guests. The two of them definitely had to go together. The people in the market would look at Xiao Jing when they saw them. Luo Luo glanced over. "Do you want to wait here? It's a little dirty inside. There are poultry inside." "It's okay." Xiao Jing followed behind her. Luo Luo didn't feel anything at the start. Later on, he took all the vegetables and she was only in charge of picking from the start. She felt that it was too intimate. More importantly, he looked like he was going to stay for a long time. He should be very busy at Xiangnan. The club wouldn't let him stay for such a long time. Luo turned around and looked at his slender and fair fingers. He was carrying the 3 plastic bags and had a scholarly air about him. It didn't suit this place at all. She also knew that he was a little obsessed with cleanliness because of his research. Otherwise, he wouldn't wash his hands so many times a day. However, when he followed her past the poultry area, his side profile didn't show any emotion, but it was a little whiter than before. It was probably because he had a cold. Luo knew that he wasn't feeling well yesterday, so she woke up early in the morning to buy medicine. With a lozenge in his mouth, Xiao Jing was even less talkative, but the sunlight reflected on his chin was clear and clean. There is a kind of man that you will always be attracted to. This was because there was always a youthful aura around him. No matter how much time passed, it did not seem to fade. Even though he was carrying a plastic bag. You can also imagine what he is like in front of the computer. This person shouldn't stay here. Captain, when are you going back? Xiao Jing glanced sideways and said in a hoarse voice, I'm not going back. Ha! Luo thought she heard wrongly. Chapter 1591. Luo's hands paused. If she had been the one carrying the plastic bags, they would have fallen onto the ground. Her heart tightened. She took a few steps and stopped. Captain, don't use such a method. What method? Xiao Jing glanced at her. Luo took a deep breath. I really don't want to go back. I'm not being angry, I'm just tired. Xiao Jing finished a sentence. Luo acknowledged him. Xiao Jing stood there, wanting to caress her head like how he did in the past. At that time, he thought that he would take special care of her because she was his team member. Now he finally understood. He wanted to take care of her because she was Luo. At that time, he didn't have much time to sleep when he was playing games. Sometimes, after he finished a game, he would turn his head and see her sleeping on the keyboard. Then, he would pull his jacket open and place it on her body. Then, he would ask Zhao Sanpang to smoke with him. He still remembered what Zhao Sanpang had said. Captain, Luo is working so hard and there are still people scolding her. Why are we still in this industry? Luo said that it's to earn money. If it's really to earn money, it wouldn't be like this. He didn't speak. Because, what was this person like? As long as the person who liked her understood. But, there was no eternal love in this industry. Even if they liked her, they might not understand. Even he, after so many years, found out that she was so tired that she wanted to abandon the thing she loved the most. For the first time, Xiao Jing felt his heart aching. It wasn't because she was trying to let go of him. Instead, he wanted to ask himself what he had been doing all these years. Playing games and winning the championship. Other than these, there was nothing else in his eyes. In the end, he couldn't even protect the person who gave Xiangnan so much glory. Xiao Jing's hand slowly clenched into a fist. He said calmly, if you're tired, rest. I'll stay and accompany you. I'm not using any methods. I just want to accompany you. Luo was shocked again. Her heart was pounding. She wanted to ask Xiangnan what should they do. Didn't the new mid just come? What about the team members? But before she could speak, a chuckle came from behind. A chuckle came from behind her. Luo, what a coincidence. Following Luo's gaze, Xiao Jing saw that it was the man who had taken her wrist that day, and his eyes couldn't help darkening. Luo felt that it was a coincidence too. You're here to buy vegetables too? No. The man walked over, and before he could say 2 words, Yi Zichen walked over. Someone was calling his name from the other side. Don't forget about tomorrow. The man responded and turned around, looking handsome as the sun shone down on him. Luo replied with a mmh, and smiled as well. Looking at the person who was called away, the old man selling vegetables said, This child is successful outside. Chapter 1592. He was probably suppressing something in his heart. When it was time to eat, Xiao Jing's cold got worse and his cough became hoarse. Luo wanted to bring him to the clinic in the small town for an 4 drip. He swallowed 2 pills and pressed his hand on her head. I'm a doctor myself. Moreover, he knew very well where the problem was, so there was no need for an 4 drip. In the past, this person would never wait until it was this serious before taking medicine. Luo still felt that she had to take a look. Also, she didn't know if it was because his hand wasn't used to the environment here, but the side of his hand had a rash. It was fine if he caught a cold. But for esports players, the most important thing was their hands. The second after Luo Luo saw the rashes, Luo Luo's expression changed. She grabbed his hand and said, "Let's go to the clinic." She couldn't let anything happen to him here. Especially his hands. He bought the ointment and applied it. Luo Luo was still worried and asked the doctors in the clinic many questions. They were all from a small town. The doctor laughed. "Luo Luo, your friend isn't used to living here. He has an allergic reaction. You're so nervous. I thought he was your boyfriend." Luo Luo instantly calmed down and glanced sideways at Xiao Jing. The man didn't seem to hear the doctor's words. He reached out and placed his hand on her head again. "I said I'm fine." Luo Luo watched as the doctor widened his eyes. He didn't know how to explain it to others. Their captain liked to press her head. This was his old habit. In the eyes of others, they would probably look a little intimate. It was more than intimate. Luo Luo couldn't see Xiao Jing's eyes from her angle. That pair of eyes seemed to hide too much gentleness. Almost all of his efforts were spent on this action. In the afternoon, Xiao Jing had to help Mama Luo cut vegetables again. Luo Luo rejected him directly. "If you do this, your hands will be fine. If you itch, your hand speed will decrease." "It doesn't matter." Xiao Jing's voice was so light that Luo Luo didn't even hear what he said. She just looked at him. Just then, Xiao Jing's cell phone rang. Luo Luo looked at the caller ID and found it familiar. It was from the club. Xiao Jing stood up. "I'm going to take a call." Luo Luo replied, "MH." She knew that he was about to go back. Sitting in the courtyard, he looked at the setting sun. The phone call lasted a long time. When he came back, Luo Luo opened her mouth. "Captain, you should buy a ticket." "No." Xiao Jing's throat hurt when he said these two words. Luo Luo lowered her eyes and clenched her fists. "I came back because I want to start afresh. With you here, I can't start afresh. As you can see, I have my own life now. Actually, you don't have to worry about me. I will play with the kids in the kindergarten and occasionally eat ice cream. I have also found my own career. Other than esports, there are other industries that I like. I will stay here and be a primary school teacher. Even though my education isn't high and I don't even have a high school diploma, my classmates said that as long as I can get a teaching qualification certificate, I will be able to do some tutoring according to the actual situation." Luo Luo lowered her eyes and clenched her fists. Luo Luo paused for a moment. "So, I'm no longer the female teammate that you always have to worry about. You should really go back." Chapter 1593. Luo Luo paused. She didn't deny it. Xiao Jing pressed his hand on her head. "But without you, I won't be able to live well. I don't want to play games and I don't want to do research. Even though it's late, I still want to say this. Luo Luo, maybe I liked you a long time ago but I didn't understand that it was like that. I thought I treated you well because you were my team member." Luo Luo's gaze trembled. Her heartbeat was in a mess. Xiao Jing lowered his voice. "It's good to be a teacher. Education isn't that important. Look at me. I have high education but I still lost the person I like." Luo Luo opened her mouth and wanted to say something. Mother Luo called them to eat. Xiao Jing looked up. "Let's go. If it's really inconvenient, I will leave." Luo Luo was in a mess. When it was time to eat, she couldn't eat at all. She sat in her room. She looked at the things that she collected and hid. She liked them too much. Because she liked them too much. Hence, sometimes, she didn't even dare to touch them. It wasn't easy for her to let them go. She seemed to have to let go of that man. Then, she could stop thinking about the days when she played games. Glory. Scolding. She would stay away. In the end, she didn't have the courage. She wasn't good enough for him. No matter what happened, he could stand there and not be defeated. She couldn't. The internet is really a magical thing. Anyone could say irresponsible things. It could wear away your love for an industry. She seemed to have forgotten why she wanted to play esports well. If she only wanted money, it would be much easier. That way, she would be able to deal with a series of plans easily. If she liked something, it would be easy to treat it seriously. But no matter what, people were manipulating things and benefits were the trend. The manager of the club had talked to her about retiring a long time ago. Long before she left, they had already looked for someone to replace her. The era of esports had arrived. They didn't want someone like her who was no longer fresh to everyone. Sometimes there would even be scandals. The club needed to change and the team needed fresh blood. Luo understood what the manager meant. She knew that he wanted her to leave with dignity. Maybe they wouldn't be together. She could imagine it. He was still playing esports. And she was starting to dislike this industry. He wanted to fight side by side. Like what he likes, she likes too. Was it because the dreams he had when he was young were too beautiful? Only when they woke up would they have a clear understanding of reality. Luo closed her eyes. After she covered herself with the blanket, she couldn't help but bite her hand. It was raining outside. Even Xiao Jing's voice on the phone was hoarse. I'll go back when she's really happy. Captain, why didn't you tell Luo that you retired? Zhao Sanpang was anxious. That way you can gain more sympathy. Xiao Jing's gaze fell on one point. No. Why? Zhao Sanpang didn't understand. Xiao Jing's black hair fell down, covering his hair. She participated in competitions when she was very young and thought that playing esports was a very cool thing. So no matter what she encountered, she never gave up. Now that she has woken up from her dream, she doesn't want to be broken into pieces. If I say that I'm also retiring now, her faith will collapse. She still wants to fight alongside us. Chapter 1594. Zhao Sanpeng's voice was a little hoarse when he said this. Xiao Jing didn't say much. He just replied, MH. Zhao Sanpeng wanted to ask his captain many times. Wasn't he disappointed? Wasn't he disappointed in the face of such treatment? But he couldn't bring himself to ask this question. When his captain told him not to let Luo's dream be shattered, Zhao Sanpeng finally understood something. Why did this person retire? For a person. Why didn't he tell that person when he retired? To protect that person's original heart. So that even when she had to endure all this, she could still remember when she woke up the next day. She could do it again when she woke up from her dream. No matter how cruel reality was, he could always smile when he thought back to his younger days. He didn't want Luo to know that it wasn't worth it to fight side by side with him. This was the same as 3 years ago. Some words couldn't be said. He knew that he couldn't say it. No one knew better than this person what he and Luo were thinking about. Whether it was pure love or the feelings they had for each other for so many years. He had always been their captain. Sometimes they thought too highly of themselves. They received too much love. They thought they wouldn't change. In this day and age, very soon, no one would remember who they were. They would lose the championship. This was normal. After the club understood that they couldn't get their captain back, they started to prepare to abandon him. It was indeed better that Luo didn't know about this. The new mid laner was very popular. Something they couldn't do. He could do it. Hence he could stay. He couldn't let Luo know about this. Other people probably didn't understand. But Zhao Sanpeng knew why his captain did this. When he went, he wanted to bring her back. He really wanted to be together. Now, he probably wanted her to stay there. Then, he accompanied her. That's right, why did he come back? Zhao Sanpeng looked up and glanced at the news released by the club. Some people were saying, I really don't understand why Almighty Xiao did this. Almighty Xiao is pretending to be dead. Zhao Sanpeng is the same. Isn't the new mid laner supposed to work together? Isn't this too much? They didn't even give us fans an explanation. Up to this point, Zhao Sanpeng had lost all his emotions. He locked himself up and couldn't help but ask, Captain, do you regret playing esports? On the other end of the line, Xiao Jing paused for a moment before saying, Repent. When Zhao Sanpeng heard that, he felt really bad. Xiao Jing glanced sideways at the night sky outside the window. When Luo retired, she regretted it. I looked at the words of those people, the decision made by the club, and watched her leave. I regretted it. If it wasn't for esports, I wouldn't have met you guys. Zhao Sanpeng paused again. Xiao Jing smiled and said in a low voice, That's enough. Zhao Sanpang cried like an idiot. No one could understand what kind of emotion that was. The next day, Luo woke up very early. He had thought that he wouldn't meet that person. But when she arrived at the courtyard, she saw that he had one hand wrapped in gauze and was fiddling with her flowers. It was still drizzling outside, and some of it landed on his hair. Such a white-robed youth really did not belong to the human world. Luo looked at his scholarly aura, and this was the thought that rose in her mind. I'll send you there. This was the first thing he said. Luo lowered her gaze. They are all my classmates. Chapter 1595. The two of them held an umbrella. They didn't walk a long way. Luo had a car, but her driving skills weren't good. The first time she drove on the road around the island, the engine even stalled. At that time, Zhao Sanpang laughed for a long time. Now, her driving skills were still bad. Especially when there was such a person. Xiao Jing could roughly tell. He turned his head and said, "Change seats." She gave way generously and sat in the front passenger seat. She glanced at him from time to time. When she heard that he was coughing, she couldn't help but pass him a box of lozenges. Xiao Jing took one. He was completely different from Qin Mo. He never tried to hurt himself. Even Zhao Sanpang said, "Captain, if you were half as shameless as Qin Mo, you would have gotten her long ago." But people were destined to be different. Luo liked Xiao Jing. Xiao Jing was like this. From a youngster to a man. She had seen it all. He didn't talk much and didn't show much expression. Address. Xiao Jing coughed and pressed the navigation button. Luo told him the location. It was a very close distance. It wouldn't take more than half an hour to drive. Xiao Jing didn't start the car immediately. He glanced at Luo before leaning over and buckling the seatbelt with one hand. Luo's breathing was a little tight. Her heart too. But that person was still very gentlemanly. After fastening the seatbelt, he stopped. His side profile was a little pale. Hence, when Luo walked into the restaurant, she couldn't get rid of that person's shadow. Luo. Someone walked up to her. Luo glanced up. It was classmate Leng. Almost everyone is here. Hurry up and go in. I'll wait for the rest. She was still smiling brightly. Luo replied, "Okay." In reality, she wasn't paying attention. When she walked in, she even had to force herself to smile when people greeted her. But Luo's arrival. Some people didn't feel good about it. For example, Li Xian, who had liked classmate Leng for a long time. She looked at her attire and her face that didn't seem to have any traces of age. She picked up her wine glass and smiled lightly. Luo hasn't changed after so many years. I'm so envious. But I thought you would stay in the big city and not come back. After all, when you went over, you left with this sentence. It's not easy to survive in the big city. Luo glanced over and replied generously, "It's not easy. I know a lot of people who can't survive in the big cities anymore and want to come back to our small place to enjoy the scenery." Li Xian continued to smile. After all, the information in a small place isn't good. The internet was a strange place. It will toughen you up more than real life. Therefore, the moment he opened his mouth, Luo seemed to understand what she wanted to say. She placed the wine glass there and shook it gently. "You can say what you want to say directly." "What can I say?" Li Xian's fingers twitched. "It's too troublesome to talk about it. Let's just tell the group about your incident. That way, everyone will know how our great beauty Luo is being judged." Luo smiled. "Please." Li Xian didn't believe that she didn't care. Because of today's gathering, she had done a lot of research on Luo. She wanted everyone to know what was going on with her. Why did he come back to them? It was because this person had nowhere else to go. There was indeed some effect. In less than 3 minutes. Chapter 1596. Li Xian unlocked her phone. "How are you going to explain all this? Don't think that a small place like ours would keep people like you." Luo glanced over. Then she placed her wine glass down and stood up. Li Xian laughed. "You don't intend to say anything? Your phone is recording. It seems like you are prepared." Luo placed one hand on the table and pressed her body down. Can you tell me what I said? Li Xian didn't expect her to realize that she was recording. Luoluo's voice was calm. I was fooled once in the past. It won't happen again. Li Xian smirked. It seems like you have nothing to say. Luoluo glanced up. Humans are usually like this. At the start they want to say a lot, but then they realize that the person asking you is very interesting. Hence, they don't want to say anything. Li Xian smiled. You really know how to change the topic. Should I say that you are scheming? Luoluo glanced over. If you really want to say something, you can. I still want to compete and be with those people. The only thing that can defeat me is that they took away my longing for this. I know too well who is behind this and why I'm standing here. I don't even want to touch the mouse anymore. It's because I hate what I used to love. Well said, Li Xian said nonchalantly. I'm just letting everyone know that even your team's captain isn't playing anymore. It's obvious that you can't stay in the game anymore, so don't be here. Luoluo suddenly stopped in her tracks. What did you say? He isn't playing games anymore? Who? Your captain. Luoluo, don't tell me you don't know. Luoluo didn't listen to the rest of the sentence. Her mind was blank for a moment. When she regained her senses, she lowered her head and sent a message over. He had already lowered his head and sent a message over. Where are you? In the car. The other side quickly replied with 2 words. Luoluo took a deep breath. She wanted to ask something but she couldn't. After switching to another page, she called Zhao Sanpang directly. When Zhao Sanpang picked up the phone, he was still happy. Hey Luoluo, you. He retired? Luoluo's words interrupted him. Her eyes reddened uncontrollably. Did he retire? Zhao Sanpang cursed in his heart. Luoluo, listen to me. It's normal to retire, right? You retired too. Everyone has to retire sooner or later. Because of what? Luoluo's fingers sank into her palms. His condition hasn't deteriorated and his commercial value is still so high. No one will. Is it because of me? Did I implicate him? Zhao Sanpang gritted his teeth. No. F***ck, fine, it's because of you, but you didn't drag him down. Chapter 1597. After hearing the last sentence, Luoluo couldn't take it anymore. Luoluo couldn't take it anymore. She hung up the phone and ran to the underground car park. She didn't even ask for Xiao Jing's exact location. She was afraid that her voice would turn hoarse if she opened her mouth. He could still recognize his own car. But when she ran over, many things appeared in her mind. When she was very young, she carried her bag and walked out of this place. At that time, she didn't know what she would meet, what kind of people she would meet, and whether she would be able to turn the game into a competition. Later on, she was liked and disliked. She joined Xiangnan and won the championship. She thought that it was okay to be afraid of the dark. She just had to let herself shine. But if she couldn't shine, what should she do? Now, she realized. He didn't want her here or there. There would always be a place she could go. He was her captain. He was also the person she never regretted liking. Over the years, what she had learned the most was to be on guard. Many people didn't understand, but he did. Hence, every time, he would caress her head and not say anything. It didn't matter if she hated the person she once loved. It was because that person was still here. Xiao Jing sat in the car. His throat was burning. He looked at his phone many times. He was thinking about whether he should go up. When he placed his eyes outside, he was analyzing his personality. Rather than saying that he was confirming. Rather than saying that he was worried that he would see someone else in her eyes. The worship would be destroyed. He didn't want to live in her worship. He really regretted coming here. From worship to liking. It wasn't something that couldn't happen. Qin Mo was right to mock him. He deserved to be abandoned. Xiao Jing leaned back. His gaze was far away. He was tired but he couldn't fall asleep. He was thinking about which stage they were at. During the class reunion, they would definitely say that the two of them were the most compatible. Xiao Jing clenched his fists. He had never felt such an emotion before. He simply couldn't stand a person. Regardless of whether that person was good or not. He was really compatible with her. He even felt jealous. Yes. It wasn't that hard to admit some things. He was so jealous that he almost went crazy. Xiao Jing even wanted to go up now and take her away. It wasn't that she didn't have some kind of impulse, but she knew very well that after leaving that place, she would at least be at peace here. Zhao Sanpang asked him if he was disappointed. He hadn't thought about that. They just wanted to continue fighting together. It was no different from before. The person who supported them no longer supported them. As long as they were still together, they could start over. However, sometimes, seeing things too clearly would make one feel powerless. He no longer touched the game. Unless one day, they can all come back. But the reality was that he was too old to build another team. So he stopped touching it. Xiao Jing coughed, swiped his finger across the screen of his cell phone, and stopped at the reply page. Just as he was about to type a sentence, the car door was pulled open. It was Luo Luo. She stood there, her long hair a little messy like seaweed, accentuating her sharp facial features. Her red clothes were blazing, just like when they first met. Chapter 1598. After Luo Luo said this, her eyes lit up. Are you willing? Almost in the next second, Xiao Jing reached out and hugged her. Xiao Jing reached out and hugged the man. His voice was hoarse. I should be the one saying this. Luo Luo could only hear her intense heartbeat. But you aren't good with words. I couldn't wait anymore, so I spoke first. I don't know how long I would have to wait for you to say it. You only know how to take care of things for us. Xiao Jing's hands paused. You knew? Sanpang told you? About your retirement? Luo Luo lowered her voice. I know you did it because of us. You don't have to give us reasons to relax. Admit it, you like me. Xiao Jing smiled. MMH, I like you. I liked you from the start and I still like you. If I have to date, you are the only one I can think of. I thought it was a habit, but it wasn't. Luo Luo leaned her face on his shoulder. I'm probably the only fan who managed to get her idol. After all, a certain someone said that he wouldn't have sex with his fans. You are an exception. Xiao Jing didn't speak much, but the gentleness in his voice was obvious. There was nothing more beautiful than these 3 words. To an extremely principled person. How lucky she was to be an exception. Luo Luo understood his meaning. If he really said anything, he wouldn't be the expressionless captain she knew. But, Luo Luo's face paused when it touched his chin. Why was the temperature so high? She looked at his face. It was so pale it was beautiful. You are already in such a state, but you are still waiting in the underground car park. Luo Luo was so anxious that she wanted to pull him into the hospital. Xiao Jing's voice was calm. The only thing I can do is wait here. If I wake up, I will definitely go up and tell your classmates that we are the most compatible. Luo Luo paused for a moment. Then she smiled. MMH, we are the most compatible. No matter what others said. It was fine if they thought she wasn't good enough for this man. It was fine if she wasn't outstanding enough. It was all in this sentence. She was in a hurry to go to the hospital. Her driving skills weren't good and she couldn't let Xiao Jing drive when he had a high fever. Luo Luo still brought him up. He happened to see the group of students standing on the first floor. They hadn't started eating yet. When they saw Luo Luo standing together with a handsome man, they were all stunned. After all, that man's temperament was really too good. It was clearly an ordinary white shirt, but when he wore it, it seemed to be transparent. He gave off the vibe of a young master from an ancient family. Gentle as jade, with a strong scholarly aura. He didn't look like someone who should be with Luo Luo. Luo Luo, who is this? A student couldn't help but ask. Mr. Li, who was standing at the side, opened his mouth as well. They don't look the same. I'm sure this gentleman doesn't know how our great beauty Luo is judged. Chapter 1599. Get married soon? The people present weren't the only ones shocked. Luo Luo herself was dumbfounded too. But the ones who had the biggest reaction were the students. After all, the man in front of her was too good. Didn't they say that no one wanted Luo Luo? Why did such a person come out? Classmate Li's lips froze for a moment before he smiled again. Luo Luo's boyfriend? You have to take good care of Luo Luo. She went on a blind date 2 days ago. I don't know if there's any misunderstanding between the two of you. The moment he said this, it seemed as though Luo Luo, as a girl, was too casual in her relationship. Luo didn't say anything. She just wanted to leave with him. Her aura was strong. That was because the person in her hands was having a fever. But Xiao Jing pulled her back and hugged her waist. He met the gaze of the group of people. It's not a misunderstanding. Luo wanted to break up with me, but I didn't agree to it. Hence, I shamelessly chased after her. I always knew about the blind date. I was the one who went to fetch her that day. Luckily, she chose me in the end. The moment he said this, it made it impossible for them to continue the conversation. But there were always people who didn't give up. That's because you don't know how many people she has flirted with in her circle. I heard that she has a crush on their captain, and it was recently exposed. This man is really magnanimous to be able to tolerate her so much. Xiao Jing glanced over, his expression calm. Is that so? I'm her captain. I didn't even know that she has a crush on me. For a moment, classmate Li's expression changed. After all, she had never thought about it. To see him in person. Didn't the fans say that the Almighty was a man of few words and wouldn't care about such matters? Why did he come over to their side? As for the rest, I've lived with her for 3 years. I know very well what she's like and I don't mind. I like her because she never gives in to anything. Even if she knows that the road ahead will be difficult, she keeps walking. She's the best mid in our team, and this can't be changed by a few words. It's already very difficult for her to walk out from here and walk to my side. When she was young, she encountered many problems. That's nothing, as long as she chooses me in the end. This part left the man with the surname Li completely speechless. Xiao Jing didn't deny it. He simply said, I know best what she's like and I don't mind. It stopped the man from saying anything. Some of the students present also vaguely understood the twists and turns in this matter. Even a man would inevitably run into trouble when he was working hard outside, let alone a woman. What's more, these words were the thoughts of men. The best mid-laner. What did that mean? Men only needed to touch the game to know. Let's put the Pro League aside for now. This wasn't something an ordinary person could do. Now that things had come to this, as old classmates, other than sending their blessings, there wasn't much else they could do. Brother, take good care of Luo in the future. She was the campus belle of our school back then and many people liked her. When people come and see this scene, they definitely won't be able to accept it. Xiao Jing's words today were really out of line. I won't give others a chance. Chapter 1600. Xiao Jing grunted in response. Before he left, he didn't forget to invite people to attend their wedding, especially after seeing Luo's classmate who was a soldier. Other than smiling bitterly, classmate Leng was basically at his wit's end. In reality, Luo had already rejected him. Moreover, it was the kind of rejection that gave him no chance at all. But in his heart, he thought that as long as he waited, there would be hope. Now, he more or less understood. When the two of them stood together, it was as if there was no room for anyone else. This had nothing to do with being in a relationship. That was something that could only be obtained with time. After saying goodbye to her old classmates, Luo took Xiao Jing to a taxi. Xiao Jing fell asleep almost as soon as he got in the car. He didn't know if it was because of someone's concern. Luo glanced sideways at this person and the corners of her lips curled up. There was an extremely beautiful smile on her pretty face. So many years. She seemed to owe him a sentence. Thanks for taking care of me. That was why she could still dream after experiencing so much. We all say that we like it strongly, and we desperately want to tell that person. However, he didn't seem to be like this, as he was a man of few words. Was it because he was the captain from the very beginning? Luo reached out and touched that person's eyes. When the driver saw this, he found it unbelievable. Miss, the two of you seem to have a good relationship. Mate, Luo replied. The sweetness was gone, but she still wanted to reach the hospital as soon as possible. Fortunately, she did not drive away from the underground parking lot. Her driving skills were not good, and he was like this. After arriving at the hospital, Xiao Jing was hooked up to an intravenous drip and slept for less than an hour. Luo was thinking about what he said about getting married soon. According to this person's personality, he would never say anything casually. But marriage? Luo washed her face while he was asleep. He felt like he was dreaming. When she came back, Xiao Jing was already awake. Luo Luo bought 2 bottles of water. She opened one and passed it to him. The phone in her mouth vibrated crazily. It should be from the discussion group. Only the discussion group would cause such a huge commotion. Luo Luo swiped open her phone casually. When she lowered her lids to look at the page, her face turned slightly hot. Because the person in the group chat was none other than her. The reason was because of a certain someone's words. I just proposed to Luo Luo. We're getting married soon. Help me tag her. You can reduce the gift money. F*CK. F*CK. I must have opened my phone in the wrong way. Luo Luo, really? Lin Qintao said, you have to think it through. Marrying such an unromantic man will only drive you mad. I just finished lunch. I'm telling you, you're feeding me dog food again. Luo Luo, reject him. Marry me when I'm 18. Coco snorted. I'm the most handsome. Ha 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 ha. Why do I feel like I'll be able to hold my godson soon? She changed her name again. Damn it. She was humiliated by Poker Face Xiao. What's so great about getting married? Lin Feng was very playful. Luo Luo, wait for me. I will be amazing in the future. I will be handsome and rich. A domineering CEO is a good match for you. Yunhu arched a brow. What are we waiting for? Are we waiting for you to become straight? He added, I wish you all the best, Xiao Jing and Luo Luo. I want to be the best man. Bo Jiu smiled faintly. The bride will definitely only look at me and not the groom. Handsome Jiu, your knight. Goddess Luo Luo. Get to know him better. Lin Feng laughed. I want to know how Captain feels now. Poker Face Xiao is getting married, but he's still waiting for your college entrance examination. Ha ha ha. Chapter 1601. In less than a minute, Lin Feng received a call from his assistant. Manager Lin, the contract with the Qin Group has gone cold. Lin Feng stilled. His shirt collar was slightly open and he was half leaning on the sofa. He sat up immediately. Gone cold? How is that possible? We are brother companies. The assistant coughed lightly. The Qin Group told you to think about what you said. What did I say? Lin Feng stopped. How could he forget about his captain's vengeance? Yun, who was standing beside him. When he heard the voice, he glanced up from the report. What is it? Little Spade is really Captain's sore spot, Lin Feng said. He wanted to turn on the air conditioner because of the heat. Yun, who glanced at him. It's a small office. Didn't you say to save as much as possible on the air conditioner? That's right. Lin Feng sat beside him. I'm hot. When Yunhu heard this, he reached over and pressed the back of the person's head. Then he leaned over and his thin lips landed on the person's neck. There was a hint of coldness. Is it still hot like this? Lin Feng stilled. It was even hotter. F*CK. He brought this person over to admire his beauty. It wasn't for him to make a move on him. It was the same for a boyfriend. Kiss kiss. He only knew how to kiss. His heart was beating extremely fast. Lin Feng wasn't a pretentious person. He pressed down on his shoulder and pushed him onto the office chair, intending to kiss him. Yunhu arched a brow. Isn't your waist uncomfortable? I'll F*CK, Lin Feng said. Yunhu chuckled. What? He didn't believe in his abilities. Lin Feng's skills were indeed good. But for some reason, whenever he was with Yunhu, he always felt weak. At the start, he was indeed domineering. But he didn't know when it started, but he had been kissed senseless. It was the same this time. He was the one pressing down on Yunhu. How did it turn into him sitting on the office table? He stood up and when he leaned over, his fingers had already unbuttoned his shirt. Did I mention that you're very handsome when you work? So handsome that I want you. The voice beside his ear was deep and bewitching. Lin Feng's breathing was no longer under his control. Next time, definitely. It's me who wants you. Yunhu chuckled and planted a kiss on his ear. I'll wait for you next time. However, the topic that Lin Feng started wasn't over yet. A certain almighty, who was about to get married, was sitting at a dinner table while others were still talking about the business circle. He said faintly, "This year's college entrance examination is really slow." Young Master Qin is also concerned about the college entrance exams? At the dining table, CEO Wang laughed. "My son is also taking the college entrance exam this year. Seriously, I've been looking forward to it day by day. I just want it to end soon." Does young Master Qin have a younger brother or sister taking the college entrance exam as well? Qin Mo replied absent-mindedly, "It's not my brother or sister, it's my wife." "Husband, madam?" The successful people at the dining table all paused for a moment. Then she remembered that Qin Mo was only in his early 20s. Understanding dawned on her. "Are you worried about your wife's results? I understand this feeling." Director Wang continued to lead the conversation in a normal direction. "Everyone is worried at this time." Unexpectedly, Qin Mo put down the wine glass in his hand, his voice cold and indifferent. "No, I just want her to finish her exams quickly and marry me as soon as possible." Chapter 1602. He really couldn't reply to this. Boss Wang, who was trying his best to lead the topic in a normal direction, stuttered. Mary. Cough, I wish young Master Qin's wish will come true soon." After he finished speaking, he lifted his head and didn't speak anymore. Drinking was more practical. Qin Mo's thoughts didn't stop after the meal ended. After they got into the car, his assistant asked, "Are you going back to the company or your home?" Qin Mo replied nonchalantly, "To her place." Needless to say, his assistant already knew who she was. Before he drove off, he wanted to send a message to Miss Zhou to study hard. Qin Mo, who was sitting at the back, spoke again. "Don't do such things like sending messages." His assistant immediately kept his phone. He felt that his CEO wasn't very patient today. At this moment, Bo Jiao, who was biting a lollipop, was teaching her disciple how to use a Smurf account. What if she got bullied? Although her disciple was fierce, there weren't many people who knew what was good for her. Little Mo Bei, who was sitting in front of the computer, glanced up and said faintly, "Master, it's time for you to write your test questions." "I don't have the energy to write. I'm hungry." Bo Jiao smiled devilishly. She supported her chin with one hand. "How about I bring you out to eat hot pot?" Little Mo Bei stood up. "I'll cook for you." You can't eat stimulating food before the National Higher Education Entrance Examination. Bo Jiao raised her eyebrows in amusement. "Where did you get all these from?" Little Mo Bei was expressionless. She seemed to be thinking for a moment before saying, "My neighbor's sister is also taking the National Higher Education Entrance Examination. Her family members all say that." Bo Jiao's slender figure leaned against the wall. She bit on a strand of dog's tail grass lazily. She had a handsome side profile. "I'm bored. I want to drink." "You can't drink either." Little Mo Bei took a potato. "Shall we make potato beef?" Bo Jiao leaned back. "There's no meaning in life if I can't eat hot pot or drink." Little Mo Bei washed the potato and placed it on the chopping board. She comforted her master seriously. "After the National Higher Education Entrance Examination, you can marry your master's wife." Bo Jiao's eyes lit up. Beneath her silver hair she smiled. "All right, I'll bear with it. Compared to hot pot and wine, your mistress is more important." "That's a good title. Use it more often in the future." Before little Mo Bei could nod, she saw the figure that appeared behind her master. Bo Jiao realized it too. Before she could turn around, a clear and cold voice rang in his ears. "Master's wife? Isn't that a good title?" "I'm his master, so of course you're his wife." Bo Jiao pretended to be deep. Otherwise, the seniority would be messed up. Qin Mo smirked, holding onto her wrist as he walked up the stairs. A certain someone still needed to be disciplined behind closed doors. As for the method of discipline, it would always end with marks on Bo Jiao's collarbone. It is still the same today. Bo Jiao raised her head, the curve of her jaw carrying a fragile beauty, but also as handsome as a youngster. She lowered her voice. Her breathing was a little messy, but he could still vaguely hear her saying, "Softer." Chapter 1603. Bo Jiao felt that the Almighty was being too reserved. He didn't need to wait for the exam to be over. But on second thought, marrying after the exam wasn't a bad idea. Qin Mo glanced at the devilish smile on a certain someone's face. He arched a brow and placed the jacket over her head. It was better not to see this fellow. Especially when her collarbone was exposed, it would always make her lose control. Bo Jiu didn't understand. She pulled the jacket off and was about to speak. Do you want to explain the term mistress? Qin Mo glanced over casually. Bo Jiu smiled, changing the topic naturally. It's princess. It has been affecting my exam papers. Princess, who was eating cat food on the balcony. Tell me, I'm still eating. How did I get implicated? Qin Mo glanced up, glancing towards Princess before his gaze landed on a certain someone's face. He asked slowly, how did it affect you? Whenever I'm writing the exam papers, it would ask me to play with it. If I don't, it would be depressed, Bo Jiu said in a serious tone. Princess's fur stood up. Meow meow meow. You were the one who wanted to tease me. I definitely wouldn't be depressed. It's a cat's nature. Can you blame me? Bo Jiu smiled lazily. Look, it's asking me to play with it again. Princess. How infuriating, but it couldn't speak. Meow. She must have been really bored to be able to tease a cat like this. Qin Mo raised his finger, pulling her back, his voice calm. Don't bully a cat. Princess. Master, sob sob sob. Fortunately, you haven't been seduced by its beauty. Qin Mo continued, I'm delaying your exam papers. Princess. Just pretend it didn't meow. I can't focus if you don't look at me, Bo Jiu replied lazily, her hand still wrapped around Qin Mo's waist with a devilish smile. Princess truly felt that his master was in danger of being slept with by this fellow. But his master didn't think so. Instead, he enjoyed it. Even though his master didn't show it on his face, his gaze hadn't left her face ever since he entered. Forget it, since a certain someone had fed him dried fish today, he would just treat it as a daily show. But he was willing to bet. If the master was here, this fellow would only look at the master and not write the examination paper. In any case, he didn't like to study. Of course, Qin Mo knew that, but under normal circumstances, he wouldn't be able to reject a study companion. Especially since it was suggested by a certain someone. Qin Mo unbuttoned his sleeves. How many papers are left? Bo Jiu replied lazily. Not much. Qin Mo knew her well. You didn't write much? Bo Jiu saw that she had been exposed so quickly. She leaned back in her chair and smiled suavely. How is that possible? I'm also someone who finished an entire paper. Qin Mo glanced sideways. His expression was calm and his voice was the same. Lord Jiu is really amazing. You can only finish 1/20th of the task in an entire day. An ordinary person would be able to write 2 test papers if they just did it casually. How did you waste your time and only write 1? Grandfather Butler, who knocked on the door and came in with tea and snacks, only wanted to laugh when he heard this. Young Master Qin's poisonous tongue always managed to stab young Lord. However, perhaps ordinary people didn't understand, but it was really good to have someone to manage the young master like this. Chapter 1604. In order to prove that she was doing something proper, she whipped out her phone and swiped a few times, a devilish smile on her face. I'm choosing a partner's suit and gown. Since my goddess is getting married, I have to look dashing. Qin Mo glanced at her, his voice faint. Why are you dressed so handsomely for Luoluo's wedding? We have to let Poker Face Xiao maintain a sense of danger at all times. Bo Jiu stuffed one hand into her pocket. Qin Mo smirked. Why? Are you planning to kidnap the bride? Bo Jiu held her chin and tilted her head to kiss him. She smiled. Brother Mo, Luoluo is a girl. In other words, you don't have to be jealous at all. The corners of Qin Mo's lips lifted, and he replied nonchalantly. The people calling you hubby on the internet are all girls. They don't mind that you are a girl, and they still want to marry you. What do you think about this? Bo Jiu knew he was referring to the time when someone had confessed to her. Her face was cold and serious. I have a family. External seduction won't work on me. Qin Mo knew that her words couldn't be trusted, but a hint of a smile still flashed across his eyes. Remember what you said. It's the same even if you go to university. You have a family, so you should stay away from your seniors. Bo Jio wasn't very interested in other people. But for some reason, perhaps because she was about to graduate, she received a lot of love letters. The last time, Qin Mo had seen it by accident. Only then did he realize that it was wrong to say that girls were not a threat. A certain someone's face really attracted flowers and butterflies. Not only did he have to guard against the men, but he also had to guard against the girls. He really wanted to hide a certain someone so that no one could see him. Bo Jio wasn't aware of his thoughts since the Almighty's expression had always been cold and indifferent. The only thing she was thinking about now was that if her father was still here, she would definitely tell her father that she was going to marry the little Princess Qin that she had been yearning for day and night. She was no longer alone. Downstairs, Grandpa Butler's hand that was flipping through the calendar paused for a moment. Then he looked down at the pocket watch in his palm. The day was almost here. The day the master left. Every year at this time, young master would be different from usual. It was probably because he was too young at that time. But within half a year, he had to face 3 separations. The young master even firmly believed that his master was not harmed and that he would bring his wife back one day. However, everyone knew very well in their hearts. That kind of hope was too slim. If master was still here, he would have appeared long ago. Year after year, sometimes people had to give themselves hope if they wanted to move on. The young lord never said that she was born in the dark, wanton and evil. She was so elegant that she could always withdraw from the night scene. But every time he pulled away, he felt even more lonely. The old butler knew all of this. Many people felt that his back view was handsome. He was a lone wolf, unrestrained and unrestrained. No one thought that he once had a family that everyone envied. Her father liked to live off a woman and always looked like a teenager. Her mother loved to wear professional attire, elegant and beautiful, and would give her the best food to eat. Young master had experienced all of these before. A year after master left, he had seen young master wake up at night. His little figure was curled up on the sofa in the living room, as if he was waiting for someone. He had been waiting for so many years. Chapter 1605. As a qualified housekeeper, Grandfather Butler would definitely tell Qin Mo about this. He even mentioned something else. Young lord went back to look for you and left a letter in your mailbox. Letter? Qin Mo's eyes flashed. Grandfather Butler continued. Actually, young lord probably hoped that you would accompany her back then. After all, the changes were too big. That was the sentence. When Qin Mo walked back to his room, his heart felt a little sluggish. He reached out and hugged the person who had already fallen asleep on the bed. He kissed her hair. He didn't take good care of her. At that time he shouldn't have left. With that thought, Qin Mo stood up and dialed his assistant's number. Prepare 2 plane tickets overseas. MH for me and her. After her exams, Bo Jio didn't know about the plane tickets. This day, she woke up earlier than any other day. It was strange. In her previous life, she had never taken exams seriously. This time, she took it seriously. But compared to the other students, Bo Jio was much more relaxed. Many taxis were free on this day for the students taking the college entrance examination. Some private cars tried their best to avoid the roads with schools. This was to ensure that the roads were clear so that the students could take their exams in peace. There were also medical staff outside the competition grounds. The most obvious one was probably the slender figure who appeared at the school gate on a skateboard. She had silver gray hair and a tear-shaped mole at the corner of her eye. She always gave off a devilish vibe and was very handsome. Many people thought that Bo Jio wouldn't apply for a school that had a high requirement for results. After all, even if she didn't take the exams, she would still have a good future. But they didn't know that this exam was the key to marrying little Princess Qin. Hence, even when she opened the exam paper, Bo Jio's side profile was more serious than before. She didn't wear her school uniform today. She wore a pure black t-shirt with earrings. She looked like a vampire prince. Her skin was very white. When her gaze landed, the rustling sound of her pen on the exam paper could be heard. Her handwriting wasn't ugly. It looked like Qin Mo's handwriting. This wasn't strange. After all, when she was young, Qin Mo held her hand and taught her every stroke. Hence, the handwriting was 70 to 80% similar. Most of the provinces had 2 days for the college entrance exam. For every student, these 2 days were the final struggle. Sleeping early and waking up early had never happened to her before. But for the past 2 days, he had been living a normal life. When the bell for the last round rang, almost every student leaned back in their chair and sighed in relief. Then came the excitement, the uncontrollable excitement, but also a little disappointment in his heart. Bo Jiu didn't feel disappointed at all. Finally, he could marry little Princess Qin above board. Basically, he was thinking about how to take advantage of her. Bo Jiu walked casually with her skateboard. Just as she was deep in thought, she glanced up and saw the person waiting for her. She couldn't help smiling. There was a hint of devilishness as she reached out to hug the Almighty's waist. He reached out and held her wrist. Seeing that she didn't take advantage of him, a hint of a smile flashed across his eyes. The 3 domiciles were still faint. Time is tight. Let's hug in the car. Chapter 1606. Qin Mo glanced at her. Other than hugging, what else can you do? Behave yourself. Bo Jiu didn't know what to do with the little princess. Fine, behave yourself. But she hadn't expected a chauffeur. Also, the direction wasn't right. Are we going to the airport? Bo Jiu would memorize the entire city map no matter which city she went to. This was a talent she had been nurtured by Mr. Bo since young. Besides, she had been in Jiang City for so long. Of course, she was familiar with the basic route. Qin Mo replied calmly. We're going on a business trip. You're considered my luggage. When he said this, Bo Jiu was reminded of her childhood. When he had come back, she had wanted him to treat her as his luggage. She had wanted to hide in the luggage. That was really childish. Business trips were good too. She didn't have to wait for the results. Once the results were out, she would pass the admission requirements. She would ask grandfather Butler to prepare for the wedding. Bo Jiu was indeed treated as his luggage. That was because Qin Mo had only brought 1 luggage. When they were changing the boarding pass, Bo Jiu sat on it. Qin Mo held onto the luggage handle with 1 hand. You're going to be checked in too? The flight attendants will reject me since I'm so handsome. It's safer to leave me outside. Bo Jiu was still wearing a mask because the movie had been online for a long time. It was easy to meet people who would recognize her. Qin Mo held onto her hand. It's not safe to leave you anywhere. Bo Jiu. She wasn't a ticking time bomb. The person walking in front must be a multi-level marketer, Bo Jiu said lazily. I can hack into his phone network and... Qin Mo reached out and lifted her chin. Through the mask, he kissed her lips. Hacking into his phone network is illegal in China. Kiss me a few more times and I'll consider stopping, Bo Jiu said devilishly. Qin Mo pinched her face. When grandfather Butler hears this, he will feel that he has failed to teach you. I'm also tempted by his beauty. Bo Jiu smiled faintly. Qin Mo looked at her face, his eyes deepening. Then he pulled her into the corner. Further ahead was the smoking area, which happened to be a blind spot. He reached out to remove a certain someone's mask. When he lowered his eyes, even the strength of his arm around her waist had changed. The tip of his tongue came into contact with a slightly cool touch, and a numb feeling rose from his tailbone in an instant. Then his mind went blank. Bo Jiu thought about it. Back then, if they had only sent him over and used the honey trap to the end, she would have surrendered long ago. It was not good to only look at one's face. Yes, it was indeed not good. But kissing seemed to be able to fascinate people. I want to be closer to you. That way, he would be able to avoid thinking about some dark things. She had said long ago that when one didn't know what warmth was, they probably wouldn't crave it so much. However, after knowing this, even if he was in the dark, he still wanted to be illuminated by the light. Every year at this time, she would feel that everywhere was empty, so she would stay in the nightclub for several days in a row, surrounded by a group of people. Lively places seem to have this kind of magic. At the very least, it could occupy some of your thoughts and prevent you from thinking about certain things. There should be no more nightmares this year. After kissing, there were sweets to eat. Chapter 1607. When they reached the plane. The person beside him was indeed much more obedient. When Qin Mo turned his head, she was already asleep. Her silver hair fell down and hit the bridge of her nose. She looked strangely obedient. The air stewardess came a few times. Qin Mo indicated that it wasn't necessary. Then he emptied his hand and covered her with a blanket. His eyes paused for a moment as he looked at that face. Sometimes he would always think about it. If he had really taken her away as a piece of luggage back then, wouldn't he have so many regrets if he did that? Whenever he thought about that small figure hugging the keyboard and sleeping when he wasn't around, he would feel an indescribable pain. There would always be an indescribable discomfort. She was still here. She was still here. Qin Mo thought for a moment. He reached out and took the amulet off his neck and put it on her. He caressed Bo Jio's hair. Then he kissed her lightly. When the air stewardess saw this scene, she felt that it was beautiful. It wasn't like she hadn't seen couples on the plane. But she had never been like this man. He clearly had a cold and noble temperament, but his eyes never moved away from another person. Even the person who was sleeping moved his thin lips. The corners of his mouth would curl up as if he was smiling. How much did a person like another person? He could look at the other person for up to 8 hours and he wouldn't feel tired. Even when he saw the other person's actions, he would want to laugh. Moreover, she had never seen someone with such patience. Little Bo Jio, drink some water. He fed her personally. Even if she didn't wake up, he had to ensure that she drank water on the plane. After drinking the water, Bo Jio slept well. The moment she opened her eyes, she felt hungry. Qin Mo peeled a piece of candy for her. We're about to land. Eat after we land. What do you want to eat? Hot pot. Bo Jio leaned on the small table and smiled. Order 5 servings of beef. Be reserved. The air stewardess listened. This was the first time she saw someone eating hot pot overseas. And 5 servings of beef? Reserved. 5 times more reserved? Qin Mo glanced at her. Bo Jio heaved a long sigh. Growing people like us eat a lot. You are probably the worst person who has ever been insulted while growing up, Qin Mo said. His long fingers peeled open the packaging of the lunch bag and touched her lips. Bo Jio tilted her head and said as she ate, exams consume too much energy. We can look for William and get him to treat us. William? Qin Mo chuckled. It seems like you guys are still in contact. Bo Jio paused in the middle of eating. I've already blacklisted him. I didn't even agree to add him. Why did you blacklist me? Qin Mo replied slowly. We are about to hold our wedding. I will invite him and Hoshino to be the groomsmen. William, still flirting with the blonde in the pool. Why does he suddenly feel a chill on the back of his neck? No matter what. After landing, Qin Mo brought Bo Jio for a hot pot. Chinatown still had a very strong oriental atmosphere. You should be familiar with the street in front. Qin Mo's voice was calm. Bo Jio glanced over. We fought there before. Honestly, Brother Mo, did you do a lot of research to catch me? If not, why do you know where I go and have so many tricks up your sleeves? Chapter 1608. Qin Mo glanced at her, his voice calm. What kind of trick are you talking about? Disguising yourself and pointing at the competition video. In the shopping mall, you would boast about how cool you are when you play games with the boss who sells laptops. That kind of trick? That was obviously her dark history. Why would she care about such a dark history? Bo Jio smiled devilishly. Which genius came up with such a trick? It sounds cool. Qin Mo seemed helpless. He reached out to pinch her face. Little Bo Jio. MMH? Bo Jio watched his face, her heart itching. She wanted to touch him after she was full. The ancients weren't deceiving. The desire for food and beauty was probably what it meant. Do you want to play a game? Qin Mo stuffed a hand into his pocket, his eyes bright. Bo Jio pulled herself away from the beauty and looked at him. What game? The last time we came we fought here. I was the one who found you. This time you will find me. What do you think? Qin Mo lowered his gaze. If you find me, I'll be yours. Bo Jio arched a brow. I can do whatever I want tonight? In the future, you can do whatever you want. Qin Mo hinted. If your hands are itchy, we can come overseas. After all, you are Z. Bo Jiu understood that he was giving up something for her, but she didn't want to let go. He was hers. Besides, he was the one who agreed. How do we play the game? She was best at games. I will give you hints. Solve the hints before the sky turns dark and you will be able to find me. Qin Mo looked at her. I might not be able to find you after the sky turns dark. Bo Jiu glanced at the time. Where is the hint? It's in William's hands. Bo Jiu felt that he was trying to trick her again. Qin Mo saw through her thoughts. He picked up his phone and dialed a number. William, who was about to lay down, was startled. He wanted to curse in Chinese. Why did the devil call him at this time? Hello. William tried his best to show his imposing manner. Qin Mo was nonchalant. Are you at the royal family hotel? Oh no. Why did this person, who looked like an Eastern prince but was actually a demon, know his position so well? You sent someone to follow me again, Qin. Friends don't do that. William argued. You Asians should be very cultured. Qin Mo automatically ignored his words. Joe will find you in 20 minutes. There's something I want to give her in your bag. Give it to her. 9? You mean Joe? William immediately straightened his body and pretended to be a gentleman as he paced back and forth. I have to choose a suit. You know, she's my white moonlight. Qin Mo scoffed. William, do you want the adult me to break your legs again? Hey, it's true, brother. You're being too cruel. I'm treating Joe now. In your Eastern language, my thoughts are very pure. I don't have any bad intentions. I just don't know if Joe will be excited when she sees me. It could be said that William's desire to live was very strong. Qin Mo's voice softened. You're thinking too much. Nothing about your looks can excite her. These words stung his heart. Why had Joe liked pretty boys since she was young? How did he lose? Chapter 1609. Did you hear that? Qin Mo glanced at the person beside him. Bo Jiu arched a brow. Why do you have William's contact details? It's convenient for him to be my best man, Qin Mo replied slowly. Bo Jiu laughed. Brother Mo, you're hurting me. Little William thinks his friendship touched you. Qin Mo pinched her face again. Just take the things and don't play with others. You don't have much time, understand? When did I play with others? Bo Jiu was devilish. I'll definitely solve the game seriously later. Qin Mo looked at her. You go first. I'll leave after you enter the building. This way, she couldn't play any tricks. Bo Jiu felt regretful. I won't follow you secretly. Do you believe what you're saying? Qin Mo stuffed his hands into his pockets. Bo Jiu smiled faintly and turned around. I'll definitely find you. Brother Mo, wash yourself up and wait for me. When Qin Mo heard this, he raised his beautiful eyebrows. Little Tiger Bo was always confused about her position in the world. Young master. The shadow that had been following behind them appeared. The things are prepared. They're at the back of the car. Qin Mo replied indifferently, MMH. He didn't leave immediately. Instead, he waited until the shadow walked further away until he couldn't see it anymore. Then, he walked in the opposite direction. Parked outside the crowd was a limited edition Lamborghini. On the surface it looked expensive. But in reality, the most unusual thing about it was that it could speak. Devil, why are you alone? The rearview mirror reflected the surroundings. Where's my master? Qin Mo opened the car door and sat in the driver's seat. His side profile was handsome and elegant. She's playing a game. Aren't we waiting for her? As an intelligent sports car, it is very loyal. Qin Mo pressed the steering wheel with one hand and turned it. Let's wait somewhere else. Where? Little Blackie was confused. Some of the programs couldn't be answered, but it knew that someone had placed something behind it. The devil was definitely going to do something to its master. At this moment, Bo Jiu walked into the Royal Hotel. Even though she didn't have the room card, it was easy for her to take the receptionist's card. After all, no one would have too much resistance to a handsome young man in a black jacket. Bo Jiu raised her hand and pressed the floor button, thinking about the possible clues that might appear. William was still thinking of ways to get rid of his female companion. He couldn't let Joe see this side of him. Joe would definitely misunderstand. Seriously, that devil Chinamo, why didn't he tell Joe to come? Baby. Baby. Listen to me. William said to his female companion, who was hugging his arm and refusing to let go. I really can't do it today. Let's do it another day. The female companion didn't want to leave. After all, this was William. How do I know if you'll ask someone else out on another day? William wanted to say something. There was a swoosh. The door swung open. A tall and slender figure walked towards the swimming pool. The youth's hair was grayish-silver, and there was a hint of evil in his handsomeness. The black jacket on that person gave off a dark and mysterious aura. Chapter 16:10. Most importantly, that person didn't seem to be embarrassed at all. Instead, he grabbed a white wooden chair and placed it next to the swimming pool. He sat on it and said to the female companion beside him, I need to borrow this person for a few minutes. After a few minutes, you guys can continue to be intimate, okay? Honestly speaking, his female companion's eyes had been fixated on this person ever since he had entered. Now, he was even more overboard. He actually looked like he was in full bloom. This first. Before William could finish his sentence, Joe interrupted him. When you were young, I really couldn't tell that you had such a good taste. When you were young? Joe? William's back trembled. Joe supported her chin lazily. It's me. Tell me, what did Momo put here? Joe, we haven't seen each other for a long time. You don't know that ever since you left, I haven't had any appetite. William basically used all the Chinese idioms he knew. Joe raised her eyebrows. Brother, look at the time. What time? William was slightly confused. Shouldn't they be reminiscing about the past? In China, etiquette was the most important. Joe spoke slowly. I have to decipher the clues before the sky turns dark. So, William, be more honest. What did he ask you to do? William blinked. He wanted to reach out for a hug. Joe, I don't think you should be so anxious. William. Joe accepted his hug and smiled. If you want to be beaten up by me, you can continue wasting time. If I can't marry Momo, I might accidentally destroy your house. William instantly froze. He believed Joe's words. When they were young, the devil had used this point. Why didn't Joe change after they grew up? William inhaled deeply. He had a big head and red hair. He looked aggrieved. He just asked me to take something. I haven't opened it yet. You know that I'm really traumatized by your devil MO. I don't dare to touch that thing. What if it's a bomb? Joe, really, he isn't like what you think. He's a little princess. You don't know how scary he was when he was young. He's so handsome. He's a little princess. Joe patted his back. Give it to me. William was speechless. He had completely lost hope in this world that only cared about appearances. Besides, he wasn't bad either. Looking at his reflection in the pool, he was also very handsome. The Easterners really don't know how to appreciate them. William took out a box dejectedly. That devil. Could it be a ring? Joe didn't reply. She opened it and took the item out. This game, Super Mario? Didn't you like playing before? William didn't understand. He tried his best to wrap the scarf around himself. After all, no matter how handsome Nine was, she was still a girl. She was still his white moonlight. Why did the devil give you this? Joe didn't reply, her gaze landing at the side. There's a game console here? How do you know? The Royal Hotel is different from other hotels. It's the only hotel that provides an antique game console for everyone. William said excitedly. Joe took the game plug and walked over. Joe, what are you doing? Chapter 16:11. Anyone who had played Super Mario when they were young would know. There were 8 levels in the game and each level had 4 small levels. But players could find the sky-climbing vines to choose levels. For example, the second level of the first level could be skipped directly to the first level of the fourth level. In the second level of the fourth level, there were hidden gold coins and sky-climbing vines that could be skipped directly to the 8th level. If it was someone else, it would definitely take a long time to clear the 8 levels. Some people couldn't even clear the levels when they grew up. But to Bo Jiu, she was very familiar with this game and had even studied the programming code. She knew where the hidden compartment was. She sat on the carpet, holding the game controller and controlling the character in the game. At that time, the game wasn't as cool and vivid as it was now. It was just a little person with something on top of her head, jumping over all the obstacles and moving forward. But even so, William was already dazzled by the scene. After all, he had played Super Mario when he was young. Why hadn't he realized that it was possible to skip levels? And Joe's operation was too nice. However, William wasn't too surprised by this. After all, Joe was good at playing games when she was young. Very quickly, Bo Jiu reached the 8th level. The scene entered. Suddenly it was blank. Then, a photo appeared. It was when she was young. She was wearing a tiger costume and seemed to be waiting for water to feed her. Bo Jiu didn't have any impression of this picture. Then, the scene returned to the game. It was just that this game had been reprogrammed. Bo Jiu controlled the character. Every time she took a step forward and hit an obstacle, a corresponding sentence would appear. I like you. I liked you when I was young. I liked you when I grew up. Little Bo Jiu. Madam Chin. Come and get your sweets. Bo Jiu couldn't help but smile. William's eyes widened. F***CK. Do Asians use this method to confess their love nowadays? That devil didn't seem like someone who would do such a thing. This was no different from coaxing a child. But Joe fell for this trick. Seriously. William inhaled deeply. He was speechless. The game ended here. There weren't any other levels. This meant that they had passed. But the clues? Bo Jiu glanced at the words. Finally, she lowered her gaze and pulled out all her memories. After sifting through many, only the Royal Hotel was left. 9. William tilted his head in confusion. Bo Jiu suddenly stood up and opened the fridge. It was a must for star-rated hotels. However, after opening the fridge, Bo Jiu's fingers stilled. William grabbed his hair and said, Who changed everything in the fridge into sugar? Aren't there only some sugar here? But under so many brightly colored skins of sugar, there was only one, and it was very eye-catching. It was made of black sugar with a Z logo on it. Bo Jiu reached out and took the candy out. Then she realized it was a small message device. This kind of thing, ordinary people really could not get their hands on. But she often used it. Bo Jiu took it, pushed her fingers upwards, and turned on the switch. Then, a noble and deep voice, with a magnetic texture, slowly came out from inside. Chapter 16:12. In the cartoon, Ding Dang accompanied Big Xiong for 80 years. Before Big Xiong died, he said to Ding Dang, After I leave, you can go back to where you belong. Ding Dang agreed. After Big Xiong died, Ding Dang used the time machine to go back 80 years. She said to the young Big Xiong, Hello, Big Xiong, I'm Ding Dang. The low and deep aura, when transmitted through the recorder, always gave people a very unreal feeling. Bo Jiu listened, not missing a word. Just when she thought it was over, the voice paused. Little Bo Jiu, there's a Ding Dang waiting for you now. Do you want to take him away and keep him at home? As a bystander. This was the first time William completely felt the charm of the Eastern language. Inexplicably, he was reminded of his childhood. At that time, he was really afraid and couldn't stand the hypocritical Eastern prince. But suddenly, one day, Joe moved away. The villa not far away no longer had lights. William was also very disappointed at that time. But he was just disappointed. Anyone would be unhappy for 2 days when their best friend disappeared. William felt that the Eastern Prince was the same. But later, he knew he was wrong. Because one day, he was blocked by the Eastern Prince in the corner. William really thought that this guy wanted to expose his devil nature when others weren't around. Unexpectedly, he didn't take action. Instead, he looked at him. After a while, he said, Where did she go? William saw that the other party's mood wasn't right. He didn't know where Jiu was, but he wanted to teach the arrogant Eastern prince a lesson. He immediately raised his chin. Why should I tell you we aren't friends? Do you remember when you hit me? I was wrong. The very small person lowered his voice. So where is she? At that time, William felt that it was unbelievable. After all, the Eastern prince was a scheming person. Usually, he would know that he was talking nonsense. But that day, he didn't know why. He actually didn't notice anything. He even said to him, I was wrong. William was so shocked that his eyeballs were about to fall out. In the end, he could only blush and tell the truth. He didn't know where Jiu went. He thought he would really get beaten up. But that person didn't do anything. But after that, William would occasionally see a small shadow standing in front of the Bow family's door. Everyone said that Mr. An's grandson was gentlemanly and polite, a living successor of an aristocratic family. But when he stood in front of the Bow family's house, William could only think of a very poor vocabulary. Cold and lonely. It was as if he had been abandoned by the whole world. Many people seemed to have forgotten about Jiu. The figure would still be standing there. So much so that even William could not forget his childhood friend. Because she had been waiting for someone. Later, the An family moved their business center back to China. Even so, every year, William would receive a call from that person. She had beaten him in elementary school and in middle school. The only thing she had asked him was whether he had seen the Bow family come back. After that, he didn't call for 3 years. William thought that he had given up. Later, he learned from Old Master and that he had lost his memory. Qin Mo was truly a devil. He had never changed since he was young. However, there was one thing that had not changed. Chapter 16:13. To her, liking Qin Mo was like a child who didn't have any candy. At first, she just wanted a piece of candy so that she could continue to taste sweetness in her life. She wanted to know what it felt like to like. She wasn't greedy. From that day onwards, when she hugged her little keyboard to sleep, she had learned not to be greedy. In the past, she had been too greedy. But now she had nothing. But he had given her a bag of candy. It seemed as though it would exist as long as she stretched her hand out. She wouldn't have to worry about it disappearing one day. Bo Jiu lowered her lids, her silver hair covering her eyes. William couldn't see her expression. Was it too difficult for Jiu to solve? Why did that devil recite a clip from a movie about Doraemon? What was he thinking? Even if Jiu loved to watch cartoons when she was young, she should have been straightforward. Why did he have to find clues? But what exactly was the clue? William was interested in the game. He touched his chin and studied it. Bo Jiu stood up and looked down at him. Car keys. MMH? William was still in a daze. Bo Jiu slung her black jacket over her shoulders and reached out. Your car keys. I'm going to look for someone. William's eyes widened. You know where he is? Bo Jiu replied lazily, MH. William tightened the towel around him. He leaped over and dug out the car keys, tossing them to her even though he was a man and didn't need to be embarrassed. But he had only worn a pair of black underwear for his female companion. Joe's way of entering had been too domineering. He hadn't even had the time to wear his clothes. He had been wrapped in a towel until now. He was curious. How did you know where he is? Didn't the devil just recite a clip from a movie? No, there are many other clues. You are one of the clues. Bo Jiu took the car keys and prepared to leave. William followed behind. I'm one of the clues? MMH, you Super Mario Doraemon. Bo Jiu glanced back, a devilish aura emanating from her. It's all related to when I was young. He was telling me that life is like the first time we met. He did it. He has been waiting for me at that place, waiting for me to return. William was stunned. That place? Could it be? Before he could voice out his conjecture, the slender figure had already disappeared around the corner. The receptionist in front of the Royal Hotel was talking to the guest, asking him if he needed to park his car. A red light flashed before his eyes. The wig on top of his head was blown away by the wind. Which customer was driving so fast? This was speeding. Bo Jiu didn't look behind. She didn't have the time. It was going to be dark soon. There was still a long way to go. Therefore, she had to be fast. Thus, on this day, in the long silent Fifth Avenue, once again, the siren sounded. This was because a red convertible was not only driving very fast, but even when it encountered a roadblock, it didn't even stop and directly drove past it. When the local officers on duty saw this scene, they got into their cars, shifted gears, and chased after them. It had been a long time since he had seen such a scene. He dared to continue accelerating under the hot pursuit of the police. He had no intention of turning back. She even did a beautiful flick of her tail. She shook off the 3 cars chasing her. Her movements were handsome and arrogant, the smooth arc of the car shuttling between the cars. Her flamboyance was impeccable. The radio station did the corresponding broadcast. Chapter 16:14. Who is he? A young man who wasn't sure asked. Then she heard someone say, Z, it must be him. He's too cool. Z. The young man widened his eyes. It's really Z? The legendary Z. Other than him, there's no one else who can drive like that, and the police can't do anything to him at this time. It wasn't hard to hear the excitement in his voice. It seemed like the MC was a fan of Z too. It wasn't just the MC. When the name Z was mentioned, Moichen's eyes lit up. Even the people watching the screen had all sorts of reactions. Z was actually back. Did that mean that the Matrix was going to rise again? No one noticed. Just as this video was being broadcasted, not far away, a man in a suit, who gave off a lazy and elegant aura, held a cigarette between his fingers as his lips curled up into a smile. Uncle, why are you smiling? Nothing. That person retracted his gaze. He seemed to be distracted and shallow. Compared to some people's revelry. William was really in pain. His phone had been ringing non-stop since a while ago. Every message was related to his car. Violation, violation, and violation. William's eyes widened, and he grabbed his hair. Joe, what on earth did you drive my car to? At this moment, Bo Gio had already disappeared from everyone's sight. In the past, she had been a low-profile black. Now, she was an arrogant red. But no matter which color she was, the appearance of this person meant that the Fifth Avenue would become different again. Some people didn't welcome Z's return. Especially the hidden power and money transactions. Didn't they say that the hacker alliance had collapsed? Why did this person appear again? A certain gang boss in the Fifth Avenue, who was usually their nemesis for the nightclub territory, didn't fight for the goods. Instead, he made an unprecedented phone call. It was because Z had appeared again. The two bosses temporarily put aside their grudges. They were seriously thinking about how to guard against Z. However, no one knew that they wouldn't just have to guard against Z. The hardest to deal with would be the person beside Z. More importantly, Bo Gio didn't have time to deal with these people. Now she only wanted to see her little Princess Chin and tell him that she hadn't changed. The sports car skimmed over the bridge, its body flashing. With another turn, it drove directly into the villa area. It was already dark. Bo Gio lifted her lids and looked into the distance. Because many years had passed, looking at this place now, he felt that it was somewhat different from before. But when she got closer, she realized that the small courtyard surrounded by white logs, the lawn, and the two-story attic gave Bo Gio an illusion. It was as if the moment he turned around, he would be able to see the person he once knew. The moonlight gradually shone down. Bo Gio walked forward until she reached the innermost villa. A Chinese character was carved on the wooden sign on the fence. The word, thin, was clearly visible. A familiar slender figure was standing by the fence, with one hand in his pocket and the other holding a piece of paper. That piece of paper should have just been taken out of the mailbox, and he could still see the traces on it. Bo Gio paused and glanced over. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.